What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Divij Vaswani podcast. It's been a few weeks since I've done an episode, but it feels good to be back. As you guys can tell, there's no guest here because he fucking bailed. This is the second rapper that has bailed on me, and I do not think we'll be having... Actually, no, we have young bands coming on, I think in like 2 weeks after the holidays, so that'll be exciting, but just can't depend on rappers apparently, but it's all good, and this is exactly why I left the music industry, because, just can't depend on people, but it's all good. So, I want to have an episode today, just solo episode, talking about, kind of a couple things. Like, we're at the end of the year. Obviously, it's been a crazy 2021. As an entrepreneur, years are just unpredictable. They start off one way and they kind of end in a completely different way. And this year happened to be probably the most productive year that I've had in business. And I wanted to make this podcast and this video about kind of like my biggest takeaways from the year in terms of, starting a company and how we've grown it from, 0 employees to now 22 employees. Last year we did, I think, like $100,000 in revenue, in profits. And this year we're up over 2.5 million in revenue, 11x profits. So, just kind of want to talk about how I did that, through COVID, through being on F-Boy Island, and kind of like, the biggest things that I took away from my time this year. So let's get into it. Before we do, make sure you guys go check out keepmellow.com, the best melatonin on the planet. Use code DEN, D-E-N, for 20% off your order. Tastes great, puts you to sleep like a baby, tastes like lavender and grape extract, and it's really just awesome. So, yeah, man, it's been a crazy year. For those of you guys who don't know, Divij Media is the company. We're a leading influencer marketing agency in LA, and we kind of started from scratch. Just to give you guys some context, like 2 years ago, 2019, I started managing a guy by the name of Fuman Nouri, who is one of the leading pranksters in the world. Actually, is the kind of like pioneer behind Gold Digger pranks. He kind of started the whole trend of the shampoo prank, which I think garnered a couple 100 million views on YouTube. So back in 2019, October, I started managing him and kind of just doing his day-to-day work in terms of like making sure he was getting to events on time and stuff like that. And it kind of transitioned into, I kind of was just thrown into this whole world of influencers. And when COVID hit, I met this guy, Mike Malak, who obviously you guys probably know. And, I remember watching Impulsive, Logan Paul's podcast, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, this guy, Mike, who, I didn't really know much about him, but I found out that he was dating Lana Rhoades, who is one of the biggest ex-porn stars in the world. And I was like, he's dating this woman, and he's got probably a massive male audience. Like, it only makes sense if he was doing some sort of or if he had some sort of partnership with, some sort of Viagra or some sort of like sex product company. So, ended up hitting up Blue Chew, which is kind of the biggest tadalafil, company out there. And I was like, yo, I represent Mike Malak. Like, we'll be super dope to do a partnership, right? And at the time, I didn't even know who he was. I just seen him on the podcast, and I was like, I'll figure it out. Like, I'll hit him up if they want to do a deal. I'll reach out to Mike and I'll finesse. And that's exactly what happened. We locked in a 6-month deal with Blue Chew, and then, kind of started building that relationship with Mike and with a bunch of other influencers in the space. And it kind of just transitioned into, I became the brand guy for all these people. So, for Logan Paul's podcast, for George Janko, for Mike Malak, all these people started hitting me up for brand deals. And I was like, I should just start like an army of brand like sales reps and just create this massive, business around brand opportunities for influencers. Cause I knew that brands were going to start dumping a lot of money into influencer marketing, especially in 2020 and 2021. There's Mike calling me actually right now, but yeah, like, so I was like, let me do this, and I kind of took a step back from management, because to me, management was kind of like babysitting, and I don't want to, just constantly be worrying about, is the talent showing up to the event or to their meeting or to whatever. And I was like, let me just build this company. So we called it Divij Media, and, big shout out to Lulu, Dominique, Leonte, Angelica, the whole team. And, very quickly we started doing some pretty awesome deals. Like, we did the MyBookie Jake Paul deal. We did some stuff with the Ace family, Chantel Jeffrey, Stassi, like a lot of really cool partnerships. And, within 6 months, we went from 0 people on our team, aka it was just me. And then we got up to 21, I think, back in like May of this year. So pretty fast growth, and we soon became recognized as kind of like one of the leading influencer marketing agencies. And, you know, it seemed all great, but there's been so many different hiccups throughout the way in terms of, you know, business deals going flat, legal issues, you know, issues with talent, you know, contracts going south, like so many different problems. And that's why this video and this podcast is super important, because, you know, I think people out there who are entrepreneurs, who are building companies, you got to really be mindful of like a lot of the stuff that's happening in business beyond just closing deals. And, you know, for me, I was so focused on the sales side this year, you know, just how do I get from, you know, like I said, 100K last year in profit. You know, I think we did like 900,000 in brand spend, which is great. You know, I wanted to go from 900K in brand spend with 100K in profit to 3 million in brand spend with $1 million in profit, which we're pretty much achieving this year. And that was all I wanted. You know, I was just so focused on contracts, closing deals. And there was a lot of things that I left out and that I didn't really pay attention to, which looking back now, you know, I'm prioritizing for 2022 because I know that I'll hit those numbers and beyond. And I'll still, you know, and the amount of headaches that will happen and that I'll be dealing with will be a lot less, right? And at the end of the day, you know, when you're building a company, the last thing you want is, you know, spending millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars on attorney fees and, you know, just, you know, arguments with talent. Like, you just want to avoid all the headache, right? And really just have it be a smooth process. So that's kind of the first biggest takeaway for me for 2021 is making sure you have a very strong legal team that can have your back in an event that a deal does go south, right? And there's so many reasons deals go south, especially in influencer marketing. Like, you know, the content isn't approved by the brand, and the influencer wants their money, but, you know, they're not getting paid because the brand doesn't like the content, right? That's one thing. The other thing could be, you know, the talent's not creating the content and delivering it on time. Now you're fighting the brand's legal team about timelines. You know, there's make goods, there's view guarantees, there's a lot of these different moving parts. And when, you know, these terms of the contracts aren't met, a lot of times you get pushback from the brand. And if you can't make sure that, or if you can't get the brand and the talent to be agreeable as the broker of these deals or the agent, you know, behind the deals, you're kind of stuck in the crossfire. And that's not it's not a fun position to be in. So, you know, it's important to have a really strong legal team. Big shout out to Pamela and Hugh. You know, really had my back this year through all the BS. And that's my biggest takeaway that I'm especially that I'm going to be focused on in 2022 is, you know, every contract is going to legal. I don't care if I'm making $1,000 or $100,000, like, it's going to legal. They're checking the contracts. They're making sure it's smooth. And that's going to just, you know, save a lot of my time and my team's time. So I know that's a big takeaway for you guys that are, you know, if you have businesses, like I would highly recommend having a legal team. And, you know, you don't have to put them on retainer. You can pay by the hour. There's a lot of different ways to go about it, but it does get expensive. It's not cheap, but at the end of the day, it's definitely worth it. So definitely have a good legal team. You know, another big takeaway for me this year was my first time having a business partner. And, looking back, you know, unfortunately that it didn't work out, but looking back, you know, I think the biggest thing is transparency with your business partners, is making sure that, like, you know, their goals, your goals, the vision that you have for the business, it's all laid out on the table up front. And having a really strong operating agreement is also super, super important, because in the event that you do have disagreements, which are going to come up all the time, you want to make sure that it's all been pre-evaluated through an operating agreement. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically just a legal document that just basically outlines everybody's responsibilities, you know, and also what would happen in the event of certain disagreements. So, you know, having that up front is so, so, so important, and it'll save you so much time and money, you know, in the end, because at the end of the day, business relationships go south all the time. There's litigation, there's issues that can cost you thousands of dollars in legal fees. And, you know, it's better just to have that OA up front, you know, spend the money, take the time to create it, and you'll feel much more comfortable throughout your business journey. So that's the other thing, is making sure you have a really strong operating agreement and a business partner that you can trust, and that, you know, you really feel like you see eye to eye with their vision for whatever company you have. So that's the biggest thing I would say beyond the legal team. The other thing is just having a really strong team around you. You know, it's so, so important to have kind of like heads of different departments within your business. So within Divij Media, we have, our VP of influencer marketing, Lulu. Obviously, I'm the CEO and kind of the one who's handling all the operations and talent relationships and brand relationships. And then I've got, Dominique, my assistant, who's really the one that's on the ground, like hitting the pavement and handling all the deal flow, making sure everything's going smooth. We've got a really strong sales team, which is the people that are, on LinkedIn sourcing the opportunities for the talent. And that's the biggest thing, is having a strong sales team, because if without the opportunities for the talent, there is no business. So you want to make sure you have a really strong team of salespeople. And on the other side, like I said, legal team, accounting is so huge. Big shout out to Anne and my accounts, because honestly, like she's been through it with me this year. Like I don't think she expected us to go, 3x in revenue and then 11x in profit. And I wasn't prepared for it, and I don't think she was prepared for it. So having an accountant that you can trust, that really has your interests in mind, that really just understands business, and also the different loopholes of taxes. How do you strategically pay your taxes? How do you pay them on time? What kind of company structure should you have? We transitioned from an LLC to remaining an LLC, but being taxed as an S corp. You want to have an accountant that can really kind of like explain these things to you, and can really, get on the phone with you and really just like talk you through why they do certain things. And there's different ways to allocate money, in terms of like, you can put money into real estate, you can put money into, pension funds and all these different things. And, that can really help you, like, in terms of like, saving taxes in the future. And right now we're heading into tax time, so obviously we got to pay taxes, and having that accountant has been just so crucial. So big shout out to Anne, and just again, make sure you have a strong accountant. The next thing is really like getting your money to work for you. You know what I mean? Like, it's really cool doing a ton of money in revenue and making profits and, stacking up cash. Like, it's great. But at the end of the day, you don't want to be on your computer 24/7 as a business owner. You want to be figuring out strategic ways to put your money to work for you. And for me this year, if you guys have been following the journey, it's been a whole lot of crypto, a whole lot of NFTs, a whole lot of ETFs and stocks. And I think just like, for me, taking an hour a day to just research the market, see what's going on, see what investments are out there, see which NFT projects are taking over. I had been advised back in March to invest, $100,000 into CryptoPunks. I'm not going to say who told me, but he was like, yo, just buy 2 or 3 of these and just hold them. Don't even look at it. And I was like, dude, come on. Like, I'm not going to put $100K in a fucking JPEGs. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Fast forward to December 2021, CryptoPunks are fucking, I think like 1.1 million, 1.2 million, if not more. I could have turned $100,000 into $2.5 million within 8 months, and I didn't do that, which I should have. But that kind of leads me into my next takeaway, which is make sure you have a strong source of where you're getting your financial and investment advice, and limit it to a few sources. Like, make sure you have a few key people that you trust, who you've seen have been successful in their investments. And, if you've got a good relationship with them, literally just take advice from them and don't listen to everybody. Because if you go on social media, there's thousands of people telling you thousands of different things about where to put your money. And it's definitely not like, you want to have like a few key sources. So yeah, for me, it's been, again, NFTs. We launched the Busted Brains project, which has been great. I'm invested into, Mutant Ape Yacht Club, Cool Cats, World of Women, Sup Ducks, a few different projects. And, again, these are like riskier investments, but, long term for me, in terms of my strategy, has really been doubling down on Ethereum. And, I've got probably 25-30% of my entire, net worth and cash in Ethereum. And it's because I believe in the utility of it. So, really doubling down and having an investment that you see, the long-term potential of. And, the 25 or 30 ETH that I have, I do think ETH will hit 50,000, maybe 100,000 within a few years. And, that's quite a massive return. So, having the riskier investments, and then also having kind of like the more long-term investments that are less risky, right? So having my money in tech companies, buying shares of Apple, Spotify, PayPal, United Airlines, like, having those safer investments and, ETFs, all important. So just, putting your money to work. And again, for me, also real estate has been a big thing, flipping houses, and just investing into my own projects. So I'd say just, be curious, research every day, look at what's out there and see where you can dump your money. Because, again, cash in the bank is great. It's great for a rainy day. It's great when you have to pay taxes, but at the end of the day, the money is not working for you. You're making like 0.01% or whatever with the cash sitting in the bank. And that's not a great way to leverage your funds. So that's another thing. The other thing that's been really crucial for me in this year, and I'd say this might be actually the biggest one, is having a strong mentor, someone who can really relate with you, and someone that you can relate with, and someone who's been in business for years, someone who's done the things that you want to do. Keep them by your side, man. And honestly, like having that person to call when you have questions. There's dark days in business where it's not going well. Then the next day you might close $1 million deal and you make, you're fucking ecstatic. And then the next day you're sad because that deal went south. Like, it's just like so many ups and downs, and it's an absolute roller coaster. So having a mentor who can kind of guide you through these events is so, so, so important. So, I've got a few of these mentors, and it's been absolutely amazing. George Janko is FaceTiming me. Yeah, I'm in a podcast. Can I call you back?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, of course.
I'll call you back. Bye. George Janko. Big shout out to George Janko. Probably best podcaster. If you guys haven't seen the Island Boys George Janko Impulsive Island Boys episode that just dropped 2 days ago, definitely highly recommend watching that shit. That shit was hilarious. George is a genius at going viral. But anyways, yeah, just, again, having a strong mentor, having strong people and strong-minded people around you who really understand business is so crucial. Another thing that I've found is super important is like the importance of schedule blocking and like really breaking your business down to like a day-to-day basis and kind of like separating your tasks, right? So as an owner operator, it's important to be focused on a lot of the higher level strategic growth, related tasks of the business. You don't want to be caught up in the minor things like contract details or, making sure talent is doing XYZ. Like, you want to make sure that you're focused on, how do we build the business? How do we get growth? How do we, expand the team? How do we, sign new brand clients? And I'm speaking from my perspective, like, it's important that my time is going towards tasks that are really going to long-term, affect the top line growth of the business and the bottom line. And with that comes schedule blocking. Like, it's just like so important. It's like when you wake up, you go to your desk, what are you doing with your time? And there's so many different things. And what I found is, even as an operator and owner, there are creative tasks that I have to do throughout the day. But when you mix those creative tasks with tasks that are more mundane or more, strenuous, your mind kind of gets a little wonky and it's a little harder to function as an entrepreneur. So what I found is doing my harder, strenuous tasks in the morning, after my lunch break or whatever, the gym, I'll start to work on the creative tasks, and like separating those two things is so, so, so important. It may depend on how you operate as a person, but what I've seen is like, just having those, having that like differentiation in tasks is so important. So those are some of the bigger takeaways that I've seen from this year that I think, going into next year, I think are really going to help the business in terms of overall growth. And I think, the other thing is we're in the holidays, we're coming up to Christmas. We got the new year coming up, and this is actually a great time to just recharge, refresh, reevaluate, think about how amazing or how difficult or how whatever the year has been for you as an entrepreneur. And for me, it's like, it's a common struggle of, wow, the year's been fucking crazy. Like building a business to millions of dollars in revenue is amazing. I never thought I'd do it this quickly. I knew I'd do it, but I never thought I'd do it this quickly. But the fact is like January is right around the corner. Brands are going to start dumping money into influencers within a few weeks. And that is why right now it's so important that I take the time to just recharge, refresh, relax, spend time with family, do things for myself, because then, top of the year, everyone comes in hot, and you got a lot of competition out there, especially in the influencer space. So that's another takeaway is like, take December, and just kind of like reboot and, kind of evaluate where you want to be in 12 months. Because in 12 months from now, when I'm sitting back in this chair talking about Division Media, I want to be having conversations about acquisition. How do I sell my company to UTA or CAA? And those are all things that are very possible, but it's not possible if you or me as the owner operator aren't able to function at the highest level. And biggest takeaway for me this year has been, beyond the legal, the mentorship, the team, is like the importance of self-care, time to yourself to just make sure that you're good as a human being first, because you can't build a business if you're not solid. You know what I mean? So that's my biggest takeaway for sure. Self-care Sundays, big advocate for that. Just like taking Sundays to recharge and like reevaluate the week and or reevaluate kind of like where you're at and kind of what your goals are for the week is so important. So I'd say those are my biggest takeaways of the year. It's been crazy, and I'm just excited for the new year, and I hope everybody out there continues to, absolutely crush it. And that's all I got, I think, for this episode, guys. As you can tell, my voice is about to crack because it's super dry. It's actually really cold in LA for whatever reason, probably because it's winter. But yeah, that's it, guys. I mean, if you guys have any questions, you guys want to, chat more about business or kind of like the things that, if you want more advice or whatever, happy to do that. And I think we'll be doing a couple podcasts with some of my influencer talent. Like we'll get Mike Malak, Logan, George, everybody on the pod to kind of talk about business and kind of what they've seen. And I think that'll be a great, learning lesson for everybody that watches the podcast. So that's it for this episode. I'm going to call it. Make sure you guys subscribe. Smash that like button, turn post notifications on. Go check out Mellow, best melatonin on the planet. Use code DEN, DEN, for 20% off your order. And that's it for the podcast. I'll see you guys next episode. Peace.